What goes into opening a gym? How do you know it's the right time to open a gym? And what's the difference between online and in person coaching? In episode 65 of the Last Set Best Set podcast, Coach Calvin and I discuss the process behind opening Calvin's brand new gym, Lionheart Weightlifting, in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Last Set Best Set podcast. I'm Coach Brian. I'm the owner of Big Ben Strength, and I've been teaching Olympic weightlifting for 11 years now.
And I'm Coach Calvin, current captain of Lindenwood University's Olympic weightlifting program, as well as a coach through Big Ben Strength.
And new title over here, gym owner.
A gym owner. I am now, as of, 4 days ago, a gym owner.
How's it feel?
The same. But really good, of course.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So talk to me about this. I know we've been talking about it for a little while. I've got a lot of the details behind the scenes, especially when you guys were starting to get it off the ground and get your club program going with the gym that you guys are we're currently at. You talked to me about like how the lease was going to be set up. It was really cool to get all the see what was going on behind the scenes. But how did this all come about?
Yeah, so originally the Lindenwood team had a club program, and there would be some alumni or just people in the area that were friends with people on the team that maybe people that went to school that maybe weren't quite at the level of being on the weightlifting team. It really wasn't all that much. It was like 3 or 4 people, right? And it acted as like a team fundraiser. But eventually things kind of shifted to where we're like, hey, maybe we want to expand this. I wasn't part of it at the time. It was all Coach Trent at Lindenwood. Check out the episode with Coach Trent, by the way. Very good episode. And so we decided, hey, maybe we want to open this up to being like a more public thing, make this coaching like more real. And I knew Coach was thinking about that. And so I went to him and I said, hey, what would you think about doing this together? What if we open, a coaching service together, in person? And we talked about it and we decided we were going to be 50-50 on it, and we shook hands and that was that. And so we started renting space from a nearby CrossFit gym. We would rent 2 nights a week, or a night and a Saturday. And then we just had our couple members that would come in. We had a family of 5 or 6 that was pretty loyal for a little while. They lived really far away. We had a couple students at Lindenwood that would come in. Again, this was not a big thing. This was sometimes you'd come in and it'd just be one-on-one. It'd be personal training that I was doing for 15, maybe or less an hour, right? $10 an hour. Sometimes we'd even have 2 coaches and 1 athlete. It was crazy. Somebody would cancel last minute and we're already there.
That's what my last club season was like. It was we had 2 coaches that were there all the time, and sometimes we'd have just 1 athlete show up because it was over the summer, and the other 3 were like, yeah, we're going to the beach. So nice,
So anyways, this was September of 24 that we opened up the business, and my role was kind of a lot more of the branding and the marketing. So I had to make a logo.
September of 25, right?
No, of 24. That we started Lionheart officially.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't realize it was that early. I guess the time's just gone by fast too.
September of 25 would have been 3 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
So September, October 24, I start making in the summertime. I start making all these branding stuff for it, and I start putting together a logo and a name, and we going back and forth on a name and a color scheme. Trent's like, I don't like purple. His purple doesn't look good. I'm like, this was our first big disagreement. Yeah, the colors are, and you know what I found out? Trent's colorblind. He this dude he can't even barely see what's going on there. I said, this is my job.
He's just mad you keep picking the color gray.
He's like, no, it's only red and greens that I can't. I'm like, come on. You're colorblind. You were not deciding the logo colors. Anyways, so there's a lot of little stuff like that you never even think about when you have to create a business. I had to figure out how to do a website. So that was a whole thing. WordPress, guys, do not ever use WordPress. I mean, do it, but hate your life when you do it.
Yeah.
Kind of a nightmare. It seemed like a really old service, honestly. I don't know. Like I was like, apparently it's been around forever. But anyways, things kind of develop. I'd say they honestly, I expected them to grow a lot quicker than they did. I expected, oh, I'm decent at weightlifting. Coach Trent has coaching clout, kind of. He's a pretty good coach. There's a lot of people in the area. Like they're gonna be busting at the seams to get in our gym. Like we're gonna have to turn people away. We're gonna have so many people. Not the case. Not the case at all. And it was like pulling teeth to get a single person in there. And I'm like, oh shoot, like, okay, we're not gonna get people in just by like me advertising on my page or like doing like a collab post with our Lindenwood page. Like apparently like nobody sees that. I'm like, okay, let's figure out how to run ads. Like let's make some ads. Like, and so I script an ad. I'd done some ad script stuff before, so I do that for like Barbell Apparel and some other brands that I work with. And so let's make an ad and run it. Let's figure it out. And we started getting some hits off of that. People would be like, oh, that time doesn't work for me though, or I can't come in during that time, or that's too far away. We were a good distance, like 45 minutes from the core of St. Louis. So we were kind of out in like a satellite city, like right next to St. Louis. And so we started getting a lot of objections like that. Like I'm trying to, post content. I'm trying to post our training, but it's like I said, like maybe a couple people in there, I'm trying to make it look pretty cool when it's, just two coaches and one athlete and we're just like vibing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how things have been about the last year and a half. Like, and like I said, we would have people come in and then people would leave. And then, somebody come in for 3 months or 4 months and then they'd leave. There wasn't a real strong growth period there. And me and Trent are busy. We don't have a ton of time to put into marketing this gym or even just doing coaching hours. Like I said, we're only doing 2 sessions a week. It's kind of hard to get someone to buy into that, especially if you're lifting out of a CrossFit gym that doesn't exactly have the best bars or plates. And we're basically just asking them to believe in us, right? We're just selling ourselves like, hey, like us, please. So you keep coming. So yeah, that's been about the last year and a half.
And so, we go from this part where you're doing club stuff kind of out of the back of a CrossFit gym outside of town to deciding to go into you guys' own location and like get a space together. And I think that there's a lot of lessons to be learned for anybody who's considering opening a gym about the circumstances for your guys' setup. The first thing is you guys decided to open a location closer to central St. Louis, right? Like a bigger, much more open market that can attend this kind of stuff.
If you handed me a map and said, point to the best spot to open a business, like point to the most central location, that is exactly where we are in St. Louis. Like we are now smack dab. Like we're like probably 15 minutes from anywhere in St. Louis.
Like for the people that might be in the area, where exactly is this?
We're like right by the Science Center off Kings Highway. So right between Forest Park and the Hill. So there's a really nice city park in St. Louis that's huge, and it has the zoo and all these attractions there. And then on the south of us, the Italian neighborhood that has some of the best food in St. Louis. And we're right next to the Grove as well, which has a bunch of like little bars and breweries and fun kind of nightlife-y stuff. So,
dude, that's awesome. The training and then go smash some lasagna afterwards.
Dude,
that's peak.
Me and Trent went to an Irish pub after we signed our lease. So,
dude, let's go. That's great. So you guys got into central, like right in the middle of it all in St. Louis. I think that's an important lesson for anybody that wants to open a gym. Like if you want to open a gym, especially a niche kind of community weightlifting gym, you've got to be in an area where it's just impossible for anybody to say it's a bad location. Like it's just too far away, right? You've got to have like location is so important for gyms. Weightlifting gyms can get away with not being in the middle of it all. And to that, they may have an advantage because they can get usually cheaper rent. They can get warehouse spacing, as long as the area is like zoned for it and their landlord's kind of okay with it. Then sometimes you can get away with that, but you kind of already, if you're going to do that, you kind of already want to have like an established membership base to be able to make that work, because it's still going to be expensive and you're not going to get that walk-in traffic, right? But you guys go, and it's even better than just being in a great spot. You guys also are now in the same building as a complex with a bunch of other fitness related businesses, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll even bring it back a step and just say that like we made an ad, and this ad goes like, CrossFitters, your snatch sucks. Does it look like this? Do you want it to look like this? Like, well, hit us up and we're gonna fix your snatch or whatever, right? And this CrossFit gym saw this, and I guess they weren't offended by it. And in fact, they laughed at it and said, "Hey, let's have those people teach us to snatch." Like, they text us and they schedule a snatch seminar, and I was super excited. I was talking with them about how they wanted to do payment for it, and they were just going to do a flat rate. So it was $300 for me and Trent to run a snatch seminar for an hour and a half. I was like, dude,
Nice.
let's freaking go! Like, this is awesome. And we were going to do a price per head, but then you kind of got to advertise it, and like. So it took the stress off our shoulders, and we go in. There's like 8 people. It was a good amount that a lot of people got really individual feedback. And yeah, we had a great time. We didn't really even see the owners. Like, I remember we were like, okay, how do we get paid now? Like, and then just like nobody was there. Like, we just did the snatch seminar, and we're like, we text them, and they're like, send us the money, and we're like, okay, like, I guess we did it. But yeah, that gym ended up reaching out to us in the future saying, hey, we're buying a new space. Like, do you guys want to maybe move in here? Like, do you want your own location maybe? We're like, whoa. And so some more background, like you said, like this spot is like 10 different individual businesses that all are under kind of the same roof or like connected warehouse space. So it's huge, by the way. It's like this like sprawling, like there's like multiple floors, and it's like whoa. But the owners, the landlords, own the CrossFit space, which is very nice, and a very nice CrossFit gym. Then there's like a full kitchen and very nice bathroom and lounge area. You got Pilates, a full Pilates studio. There's like a CPR certification room. There is a sauna, breathworks, and cold plunge business, which has a huge sauna outside. There's personal training. There's a 24/7 sort of machine bodybuilding gym there. There's chiropractic, PT, and then soon to be with us, boxing as well in a High Rocks location. They just kind of got everything going on there. There's like all sorts of little things. And so, it's sort of, while also just being in a good location, like area-wise, like, they told me that they had over 800 people sign up for classes, 800 individual people sign up for classes or events or, services out of that gym in the last year. And so I was like, whoa, like that's a lot of foot traffic that is interested in health and fitness and might be interested in trying Olympic weightlifting. And they do a lot of collaborative stuff, like a punch card where you can try one of everything at their space. They do a lot of cool stuff like that. And so I was super interested, but I was like, guys, like that's great, but we got 7 members right now, and that's not covering a rent payment, but we appreciate the offer. And they're like, oh, like, well, what are you doing right now? We're like, well, we're paying, a certain percentage of our revenue to a CrossFit gym just to rent their space a couple nights a week. He's like, we could do that, or we could beat it. And I'm like, for having our own space? He's like, yeah. I'm like, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about this. Yeah, I mean, we end up chatting about it on the phone, and the deal sounds great, right? Too good to be true, in a way, right? I'm like, dude, there's no way that they're gonna give us this same kind of percentage-based deal, but like we're gonna have our own space and not have to. So like for reference, like typical square footage, like rent price, like $10 to $15 per square foot is like a pretty decent price. I wouldn't even expect that from the area that we're in at all. Like that would be like more on the outskirts of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like we're capped at like $13 per square foot.
That's awesome.
Like that's like the most we'll ever pay once our percentage hits that number. And so it's like it's such a good deal. It's such a good deal. And yeah, I mean, it's like that location, just everything about it is fantastic.
And you guys, like, I want to talk about the lease structure a little bit. And I know that this isn't a real estate podcast or anything like this, but like this lease structure is the reason that this makes sense. And do you mind if I share the details about it a little bit? Not any specific numbers.
Yeah, just you can share like how the deal works and kind of.
Yeah. So it's really interesting in that, like, what they're doing is essentially providing a lease structure that allows you to grow into being a full capable business of paying rent, which is unheard of. Like most places will not do something like that. I mean, here in Florida, it's minimum rent is $3,500 a month for any sort of commercial space. Like you're lucky to pay anything less than that. Which is pretty ridiculous, but it also means that if the rent is that high starting off, you have to have an existing customer base to even consider it, right? Or you have to be able to, go 6 months without really like have 6 months of rent saved up, if not probably closer to a year and a half saved up to be able to make it work. But what they're doing is they're allowing you guys to pay a percentage of your revenue until you guys meet the rent, and then from that point on, it is just a rent, the standard rent. So it never goes above what the rate, the rental rate is, and it allows you to build up to that over time. Which is, I mean, it's the perfect situation. I wish like more landlords and businesses would do stuff like that, because I think it would be fantastic for the economy and fantastic for like growing small businesses in the area. Because it's just too hard to you either have to go in with a ton of capital like already available to you, or you just have to kind of be willing to like eat dirt for like a year and a half until you even get to the point where you're breaking even, Hobby weightlifters and competitors training might seem the same, but there's one big difference. Competitors need to hit their best lifts on the competition platform. It doesn't matter what you did in training if you can't perform when it counts, and your program should reflect that. Instead of following random programming, maxing out all the time, and hoping for the best on game day, our Competition Strong Team program focuses on long-term progressions that set you up to have your best competition day yet. Each training cycle is carefully designed around the USA Weightlifting National Circuit, so you'll hit your biggest lifts at the Arnold, the American Open Series 2, and of course, the National Championships. If you're ready to take your training to the next level and get platform ready, then click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen for a free week trial today. All right, back to the show.
Yeah, and these guys, like, I'll be honest, like, not the smartest business decision. Like, they're assuming a lot of risk to take a chance on these two guys that they barely know that want to start up a gym. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, they kind of know about weightlifting. Like, one of the owners actually coaches a youth weightlifting team in Canada.
That's
so
cool.
He kind of lives like half the time in Canada with his girlfriend, and so like he's been around weightlifting. He kind of understands it, but so maybe he kind of can see the potential in me or Trent, that we could offer to a community. But other than that, I mean, how much do they really know about us, right? Like, they're taking a big chance to make this happen. Yeah. And I mean, in my opinion, of course, I think it's the right opportunity. I think it's a great, I'm always betting on myself, but for someone else to trust in me and Trent to do everything that we need to do there is impressive. And I think it shows that them as landlords, they're not worried about making the most money possible right now. They're trying to build the best community right now. A completely like comprehensive, like wellness, like health and fitness space in St. Louis, right? Like that's their dream. Mm-hmm. Like they like are honestly like mad if anybody has to go to other locations to get a health and fitness service.
Yeah.
They want anything anybody could need to be right in that space.
One-stop shop. I mean, it makes sense. It's a great way to do it, right? Like if you have a good like one business that's really pulling in a lot of people, then it makes sense to have all the other little things that they would need there. But the problem with that a lot of the time is like the one business will try and do it all themselves. So it's like that CrossFit gym will then try to provide high rocks classes, and they could probably do well with that. But then they try and provide cryotherapy, and then they try and provide chiropractic and PT, and you just start stepping further and further outside of your wheelhouse, and the quality drops across the board. But this approach makes a ton of sense. The CrossFit gym gets to keep doing their CrossFit thing, and they get to be landlords of the whole space, but then they get to bring in experts to run that avenue of the business really well. And by, getting people in for PT, those people in PT can get referred to like, hey, you probably just need to exercise more, which happens a lot in the PT space. And then they can say like, go get set up at CrossFit, or, get on some personal training, or, oh, you want to build muscle and you want to get strong, go check out the weightlifting guys. Like that's probably a good idea. So I like it. It's like a good virtuous cycle where everybody seems to be capable of helping each other out in the business, and supporting each other. And I think it makes sense. Like, I think this is a fantastic business model. I'm actually very excited about it for you.
Yeah, like for instance, the 24/7 gym that's there. Like they have all,
Mm-hmm.
sorts of machines and cardio
Yeah.
equipment, and it's very glitzy, glamoury, very well cleaned and nice, well kept, and air conditioned and heated. And like I talked to their owner. I'm like, hey, like if our members want to maybe join your gym, like could we do like some sort of discount, like some sort of collaboration? And he's like, yeah, like I could give you guys $20 off the membership price. So like went from like 50 to 30 or something a month.
Dude, awesome.
If they want to go in and use all those machines. And I'm like, hell
And
yeah,
it
dude.
and it
This is
opens
awesome.
up like benefits for your guys as members too, because like as weightlifters, we all love to be able to do like be able to do all the accessory work that we want to, but a lot of the time we're kind of limited to like bars and dumbbells, and that's pretty much it. And then, but machines are absolutely fantastic for like helping weightlifters build muscle and do all the accessory work that they just can't really do in a normal weightlifting style gym. Like, dude, like being able to get on a seated hamstring curl or like a pullover machine or something like that is so great. But no weightlifting gym is going to spend their valuable real estate time and space and money on like one machine that can only do one thing. So it's
Yeah,
better to let this gym do that because that's their bread and butter, and then you guys have
exactly.
you guys can have a not codependent, but you guys can support each other in that way.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's awesome.
It's like as like a CrossFit gym or a typical weightlifting space, like you're not going to have machines really. Like you're going to
No.
maybe have one or two, maybe a few if you're a really big gym. And so yeah, like it takes the pressure off of us to have to offer like a lot of that stuff too. Like it's like
Exactly.
that like our members can just sign up for a sauna class or whatever, go over
And,
there.
and even better, it takes the pressure off the members in a way too, where like let's say it was you guys went in and opened up this mega gym and had to charge a lot of money for it, but they only want platform space. And so for them, they now don't have to pay a ton of like a full massive membership to have access to all this different equipment if all they're going to use is a little bit. So it allows people to
Yeah.
like get the best possible membership for them and then add on or take off exactly what they want and not have to make one major decision about price, which is really helpful.
Let's talk about the equipment we have too, because
Yeah,
that's
dude.
another.
You guys had a whole adventure getting this equipment. This was You told me about this, and I was like, I might drive to DC before you guys and pick it up myself.
It's another reason why opening this space just makes sense. Like we thought we were gonna have to do it with like
Mm-hmm.
pound plates and bad bars, and that we were just gonna scrape by until we could make enough money to buy real weightlifting equipment. So
That's exactly what I did.
one set of Rogue plates online. It's free shipping, by the way, which is great. Thanks, Rogue. But one set, which means like, two reds, two blues, two yellows, all the way down to greens, right? It's $1,400. So if we want to outfit a gym, we need 6, 8 sets of those, maybe even more, right? Depending on how much members we have. That is a lot of freaking money, right? Like this is like, we're talking like $10,000 at this point with plates. And that's not even change plates or bars, right? A bar, that's going to run you a nice bar, 700, 800, right? At least. Good luck finding like, a lot of bars on Facebook Marketplace. You might find one good one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ones that match or, like are in similar quality, similar condition, like you're not going to get that, right? You got to buy them new if you want a lot of them. Same goes with like change. I mean, like you could find change plates, but how are you going to find? You're not finding kilo change plates used, right? And so one of our members happened to go to a university in Washington D.C. She was a field hockey player there. Shout out Emily, big shout out Emily. And her strength coach, they were gutting their weight room. They were selling a lot of their equipment. She's like, actually, they're selling plates like they're like these like Penlay plates. Like, would you guys want to buy them? Maybe. I was like, shoot, like, I mean, we need a lot of plates. Are they, then they're, wait, like, but like they're pounds, right? And she's like, no, like they're kilos. Like your college weight room had kilos? Like, what is this? And she's like, yeah, and there's like 6 bars. There's like 3 men's bars and 3 women's bars too. They're Penlay barbells. Like, I know Penlay barbells are good. Like, I've heard that they're some of the best barbells out there. At least they used to be. And I'm like, let me hear more about this. Like, what is the price? Like, what is the deal like? And she's explaining it to me. She's like, yeah, there's 6 sets of plates, and then the 3 barbells, and then 6 sets of change plates. And in my head, I think she's meaning, like one set being just red, blue, yellow, green.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's meaning pairs, 6 pairs, which is 12, full ways down. And she says, yeah, like he said he'd offer it for $3,000. And in my head, I'm like, for 6 full, like that's 6 full sets. That's 3 full sets for $3,000. That's a really good deal. And I'm like, wait, can you like itemize it? Like how many of each plate and stuff? Like, can we get like a total? And then I realized that it's like 6 pairs. Like it's not 3 pairs. It's 6 pairs. And I'm like, holy, and 6 pairs of change plates too. Rogue kilo change plates. And I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, $3,000? Like, oh my God. And I'm like, Trent, we got to do this, man. Like, I don't know how we're going to get it here. And, he mentioned that he might rent a U-Haul and drive it here if we paid for all of that. I'm like, okay, that's going to be a lot of money as well. Like, I was considering flying to DC, renting the U-Haul there myself, and then driving back. That's really what I was about to do. And I'm like, wait, can I even rent a U-Haul? I'm 21 years old. Sometimes they're weird. And finally, he's like, hey, like, I need this stuff out of here by this date. And it's like a week or 2 from when he's saying that. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, how are we going to do that? And so I convinced Trent after multiple days. Trent, I'd like be like, Trent, we need to decide. And he'd just like start rubbing his head. He'd be like, oh. I'd be like, we have to do this. Like, you gotta. He's like, can you ask your wife, please? He just like starts rubbing his head. He comes in. He's like, all right, I asked her. We can do it. I'm like, all right, sweet. When? He's like, starts rubbing his head again. This was like a 5 business day thing, just to like have him like every time like rub his head and be like, oh.
I somehow feel like both Trent and you in that situation all the time.
I'm like, we have to do this, and he's just like, oh no. Like, and so we take Trent's 1999 GMC 1500, and he does an oil change, flushes the transmission fluid, and make sure it's running in tip-top shape. And we rent a U-Haul trailer, and we road trip it, which on the map it says like 13 hours. And like immediately, like things are breaking, like our taillights are not working anymore. I'm not even kidding you. I have to splice the wires together of one taillight into another one. I have to because the plug-in broke. So I have to splice it into a working plug-in. And that takes like an hour and a half of just sitting on the highway. Like, of course, we did it wrong the first 2 times. And finally, we're back on the road, and let's say it's like been like 4 hours at this point, and we've done like 1 hour of driving or something. Like, it was like ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
And then we like stop for lunch because it's lunchtime, and we're like, oh, dude, we're never making it there. And we finally get in at like it was 1 a.m. Eastern, so like midnight our central time. And we get a hotel, and we wake up at 6 a.m.
Oh,
grab a hotel breakfast, and immediately go over to the university where the strength coach very nicely had everything laid out on pallets out by the loading dock. Great. Shout out Alex from American University. And, we're loading all this stuff on, and, he's like, yeah, like, they put a lot of pressure on me to, like, get rid of this stuff, but nobody's buying it on Marketplace. Like, I'm happy to give you guys a good deal so that we don't have to, like, literally scrap, like, this equipment. I'm like, wow. Like, he's like, yeah, they bought us an entirely new Alico weight room, like custom Alico with all our logos on it. And he's like, yeah, it's not the biggest concern that they're getting like a crazy deal from selling this stuff. And it was like 15-year-old equipment as well. And we're like, wow, dude, like, this is great. And so we load everything up, and we got all the bars and stuff, and he goes back inside. It took like a long time to load all that stuff up in the truck, in the trailer. And we're about to drive off, and I get a call, and he's like, hey, like, would you want some benches? And we're like, yeah, like, how many? He's like, oh, like 4 benches. Like, do you want them all? Like, sorry, like, did you guys leave yet? And I'm like, no. Like, he's like, all right, well, I'm basically going to have to get rid of them. Like, nobody's going to buy these. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, let's come grab them. And then we get in there, and he's like, I'm not even kidding. Like, he just starts offering up everything. Like, he's like, do you want like this? Like, do you want a rack? And we're like, it's like these super nice racks with pull-up bars, and like they're like really sturdy. And we're like, yeah. Like, he's like, how many do you want? We're like, how many can we fit? We're literally like researching the specs of Trent's truck and our trailer to make sure we're not overloading it too much. And like, we're like, dude, this is crazy. He's like, what do you want this? Do you want that? Like, he gave us like 10 pairs of weightlifting shoes that they just had there.
dude.
Like, so we got like sizes like 6 through 12 of weightlifting shoes for our, like, people that come into the gym. He threw out like 2 Bulgarian split squat stands. He's like, hey, you want those? Like, I'm like, yeah. Like, and I'm literally like asking for anything at that point. I'm like, what about these dumbbells here? He's like, yeah, like, we want the heavy ones, but you can take like 5 through 50 pounds if you want. I'm like,
Dude,
like,
this is crazy.
like, he's just like he's like, there's like some like Gatorade bars. He's like, here, take some Gatorade, a box of Gatorade bars. Like, dude, what?
Well,
There
great.
was
We
like,
won't need to stop at McDonald's on the way, so that's nice.
yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous how much equipment we were getting, and way more than we thought we were going to get. And we got some more plates as well. I bought personally some other. They were American barbell plates that were in really nice condition.
Nice.
So and I'm like super nervous. I'm like, dude, we have to make it back to St. Louis. Like, and we were already leaving a lot later than expected, and we just drove all through the entire day. Got back at 2 a.m. Had to unload everything still. Unloaded until like 4 a.m. Left. Trent goes home. Turns the U-Haul in the next day. Yeah, it was a nightmare. I slept
Dude.
until 3 p.m. that next day, but
Yeah, but dude, honestly, those are going to be the times that you look back on when you talk about opening the gym, where you're just like, this is crazy that this happened and this is how it worked. But like, you guys basically outfitted your entire gym for $3,000 or something like that. That's ridiculous. That is absurd to get that much, especially good equipment like that and weightlifting specific. It's just unheard of. But it's also another reason that it makes sense. Like, we talked about when should somebody decide whether it's time or not to open a gym, and I was a little hesitant at first, but then the more thing, like, once I heard about the lease, I was like, that's a really good sign. Like, I'm in. That makes sense. I support. And then you told me about this equipment thing, and I'm like, man, what a steal. Just a really,
yeah.
like, a great situation to be in to make this actually work. I mean, because otherwise you're looking at all that probably would have cost you closer to $15,000.
I
I
think
mean, you got $1,000 in weightlifting shoes just alone.
I priced it all out, and like, I had over $20,000 of stuff that maybe we had gotten out of that deal.
That's
And
insane.
and to get it all in one go as well is crazy. Like, normally you'd
Yeah.
have to like piece together that stuff from Facebook Marketplace or different areas, or
Mhm.
go to resale stores, or even just buying online. It's like a hassle to buy from all these different sites and different brands and whatever. So we had everything the same brand, same condition, same quality.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was insane. And a lot of the advice I hear from people is only move to a new space when you're ready, when you outgrew your last space,
Yeah.
which
When you're
was
bursting at the seams and capacity, like that's like for 99% of people, that's the advice that you guys should really keep in mind is like
yeah,
you really don't want to go for the biggest possible space. You don't want to like especially if it's a weightlifting gym, do not dream big. Dream as small as possible, keep it as lean as possible and fill out your space until everybody is complaining that there's not enough space and then go slightly up. And that's it. Like you
here's
got to ease into it.
here's my other big piece of advice that really made this entire thing possible is that from day one, me and Trent, we took our revenue and we paid our rent, right? But then we saved 30% of everything else we made.
Mm.
So we just put away, before me and Trent paid out ourselves for our training, we saved 30% of it. We had no clue what we would be using it for in the future.
Yeah. That's a great piece of advice.
I used part of it to buy our apparel, which actually did really well. Like for some reason, people like our members are very dedicated, handful of members, like 4 or 5 of them, just love that stuff. They bought like $250 worth of gear. Like, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like they're really bought in. Like they love this.
Yeah.
And we even sold, like when we did that seminar, we sold like 3 or 4 t-shirts, which like is like another $100 and something for us. Like what?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of were using it for random stuff like that. But that's what we bought all those plates with. And that's what we have, we just bought materials for building platforms, and we're building platforms this weekend.
If anybody's out there thinking about opening a gym, one book I would recommend reading is a book called Profit First for Micro Gyms. You could just read the original Profit First, that's fine, but the Profit First for Micro Gyms is a lot more specific to gym owners. And it's essentially like an accounting book for gym owners. I highly recommend you check it out. Really good info in there. And it talks about like what's the method, the operational way to run your accounts so that the gym owners make money and you guys and the gym is like has enough money for equipment and everything. It's a really good read. It's good for anybody who's owning a business, I think.
Which that's kind of how we operated everything from the start. Like a lot of businesses I know go into like debt early on to open up stuff, but we're trying as hard as possible to avoid any sort of debt that we would have to take.
Yeah.
Which like I said, like our deals allow that, thankfully. And that's why we're able to do it. Like otherwise this would not make sense and we would keep training out of the CrossFit gym. But now we have this super great opportunity to open up stuff. And like I said, that equipment was crazy. We have a bunch of it now. We just need some more barbells and stuff as well. Maybe some nicer barbells. Those barbells were used like for like 5 lifts a day for like the last 15 years. So they're pretty beat.
Yeah.
They're still all right. They're better than CrossFit bars, like a lot of the CrossFit bars that we use now. So that's all right.
So then, so we got the gym opening up. Do you guys have a date that it's going to be open yet? Or are you still trying to figure that out?
So the day we're recording this is the 4th the February 5th. And on February 7th, we're building all our platforms. Our landlords get back on the 10th, which they're going to be installing the flooring. And then probably on the 11th, I will even go to try and move some platforms. I'll need more people. So I'll see if people are available to help me move platforms onto the flooring then. And then basically we have to do a lot of work to get the website ready for launch, to get a few ads ready for launch, and to plan an opening day event enough time in advance.
Yeah.
So if say we finish up our last building on the 11th and maybe the 14th, Valentine's Day, script out ads and do all the website stuff in the next week, and then plan an event. I'd expect for us to be, we're certainly going to be open the first week of March. Although that is the week of the Arnold. So probably that'll be tough to open up when both of the owners are gone.
Yeah.
So we might just, it depends. It depends, right? I think we'll maybe open the last week of February, and then go into that week of March. with just a little more limited class offerings. We might ask one of our other coaches in the area that's not going to the Arnold to fill in some classes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to create our whole class schedule and make sure all our prices are set. So some of this stuff just takes longer than you think. So
yeah, for sure. So what's the plan as far as doing classes, or what's the structure here?
Yeah, so this is our big thing in how we want to create a funnel of getting a beginner who's very, kind of sidelined to weightlifting. They're not a real weightlifter per se, right? They maybe do CrossFit. They maybe do another sport that they want to work on their clean with. And we want to offer something really structured and concrete that provides them a lot of value. And that's where our classes come in. That's like the first intro, is come to a class for free. That's our big, free thing that we offer. Come to a class for free, learn to lift, and people get a lot out of that. They're seeing really immediate technique changes and form changes that they'd never thought about, right? If you don't have a good coach watching you just don't even know. And so that class schedule, it's going to look like a class every day other than Sunday. As soon as we get more membership, if we're having more than maybe 10 people in each class, maybe even more than just 5, we'll start running multiple classes in a day. That also depends on coach's availability, because I only want to run 2 or 3 classes a week personally myself while I'm in school. I might run more in the summer when I have more time, but we want to hire out coaches. We want to delegate. I want to do all the businessy stuff to keep the place running. I don't want to have to be on the floor constantly. But yeah, so that's kind of the intro. You come, there's a workout scheduled for you already. You work on your lifts. The coach gives you feedback. They run you through a warm up. So those are going to be kind of like after work hours on weekdays. And then there'll be a Saturday session as well. But yeah, that's going to be kind of the intro level. We're going to offer a lot of cool packages. So there's going to be a punch card, right? Buy 10 classes or buy 12 classes at once for a flat fee. Then you can go at your own rate. Our class memberships, for just one class a week, I believe, is that 90? No. I think that's like 75 or $80 is one class a week. Might even be 70. Yeah, for one class a week. 2 classes a week bumps you up to around $100. And then unlimited classes is going to be around $130 or $140. Then if you want to add 24/7 gym access onto there outside of class times, it's about $30 to $40 add on to each of those prices. So basically it ends up being that the top end range is like $165 if you want unlimited classes and unlimited gym access. So that's kind of our top membership package. But we want to offer each level for whatever somebody's interest level in weightlifting is. If they can only make 1 class a week, we want to have an option for that. If they also want to lift outside of that, we want an option for that. So we can kind of meet everybody's needs. And like I said, we want to cater to a more general audience. We don't want to just be high-level competitive weightlifting, because we know that that's not a majority of people. There's only, say, St. Louis has 3 million people. People that compete in weightlifting, 100, maybe 200 on the high end of people that have competed in weightlifting in the St. Louis area. Like, it's not that many people, right? So our business cannot be grabbing those people. Our business has to involve showing people that they like weightlifting and turning them into that competitive weightlifter. So we need the stepping stones along the way.
Dude, I wish more people would kind of think about that, because people love the idea. They're like, I am a really good weightlifter. My coach is a great weightlifter. Like, we can pull people in, we can make people champions, and it'll just be like, we'll have all the best weightlifters in St. Louis will be there, or wherever city. And the reality is that high-level weightlifters are oftentimes broke as hell, can't afford memberships, and they end up being more of an expense than they are a benefit to you, right? They do, there is some benefit. You get a little bit of social media clout, that's good. But the reality is like there are a lot more beginners and a lot more people to introduce to the sport than there are people who are already competing in the sport. And if you want to grow the sport of weightlifting, it starts with getting people to start weightlifting. And that's what's important. Like it is so like, and that's a big thing that we focus on, right? Like
Hmm.
we have a lot of emphasis on beginners because we have our free beginner program because we want to try and get more people to start weightlifting than ever. And then over time, as they get more involved in the sport, they'll maybe buy a program. Maybe they start with the Ollie building because they're like a hobbyist, right? And then
Yeah.
they're like, this is kind of fun. Like, let's move up to like a little bit more competition focused program. And they do that. And they're like, man, I kind of think I could probably qualify for nationals. And then they get with you and set up for one-on-one coaching. And we grow the whole sport by making it easier for beginners to get involved and let them enjoy it enough to decide that they want to take it more seriously. And that's the
Having
business model. That's what works.
having that funnel is so important. We talk about it with the college weightlifting system, even too, right? Like we're like, hey, we need high school to support college, and also you need college that supports high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then that supports high performance USA weightlifting, and transitioning people from youth and junior into the senior level. It's the same thing in business, right? Where like we need we need to have an entry level, and then we have to have each step in. It can't just be like, okay, you're first class, and then you're just on a custom weightlifting program for $200 a month.
Yeah.
Like we can't just have those two levels. And like here's kind of how I imagine that our membership base will be built up. And you tell me if you think this will be right.
Tired of programming that doesn't work? Inconsistent technique, missing lifts, or going months without PRs is all signs that your program isn't working. If this is you, I'd like you to consider joining the OlyStrong team, my online weightlifting program available in 3, 4, and 5 days a week for weightlifters looking to dial in their technique, get strong, and most importantly, set PRs. Each week is structured to support the things all weightlifters need. Enough practice in the snatch and clean and jerk to dial in your technique, a consistent strength program to build big squats, pulls, and presses, and accessory work carefully chosen to build muscle that supports your Olympic lifts. The program uses logical progressions that focus on building momentum each week instead of just maxing out every week, or worse, only lifting light to work on your technique. If this sounds like something you need, then scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description below for a free week trial today. All right, back to the show.
Brian, I think that the largest percentage of people that are part of our membership will just have a 24/7 membership. I think that they'll probably just be using the gym space. It'll probably be, hopefully in 6 months to a year, it'll be 30 to 50 people that are on this 24/7 membership. Then the next group of people is people that sign up for a class membership. They might also have 24/7, but they sign up for a class membership. They want coaching. They want to get better. It's a little more expensive. It's a little more in depth too, right? Then people that are on class times but have also bought a program from us or some program online that they're working through, but they still want the coaching feedback. Then you move to more like people that are actually competing in weightlifting. They might be on a custom program with us or some other program, and that's like the smallest percentage of people. Like that's like our in 6 months, I hope it'll be maybe like 10 people. That'll be like serious competitive weightlifters out of our gym.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get even more than that, right? And I think if we have more than that, then we have an even bigger base that's building into that as far as like 24/7 members, class members. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds about right. I think, that sounds pretty spot on. I think you're going to have your core group of people that will obviously, like, if they're your core group, they're probably just going to get better and better and be higher level competitors. And then you've got the base, which is probably going to be that 24/7 membership, because honestly, like, I think that's part of the reason that gyms like a Crunch do really well, is because they have a place for weightlifters to go and powerlifters, like strength athletes in general, to go and pay a really like a discounted price to have access to 10 platforms or whatever. Like that's kind of the big service that you guys can cover that just nobody else really has. And that's a big benefit, So I think you're probably right with that. 24/7 is probably going to be the biggest base. I think you probably want to try and advertise that hard to get a bunch of people in, and maybe that's like a free month or something along those lines. Get them in so that they're using it regularly, and then they'll probably just stay forever, because I'm sure you guys will keep the place clean. The quality of the equipment will be higher, and it's one of the only places in the area that will have gym access like this. And so that's great,
Yeah,
that sounds about right,
you kind of notice too, like within that like pyramid structure, the cheapest stuff is at the bottom too. and it just
Mhm.
gets a little more expensive as you go up to the top.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
our custom, full access, full coaching people that are on programming, depending on what program they're on, it might be up to like $200 a month for everything, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But maybe you just want a pre-made program and you just want to come to, let's say you get 2 classes a week and 24/7 access. That's what your availability is. You're only paying, 100 and, $40 at that point, $130 a month at that point, but you're getting a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're ready to really take it serious and you want to train 5 times a week with a coach and you also want like a custom program made to you, like, okay, like that's, I think too many gyms start with the model of like, that's who we're going to cater to everyone. Like
Mhm.
everyone wants exactly how I train, which is,
Yeah,
how I train, right?
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
my
Which is
program's
just not the
custom,
case.
custom high level athlete. Like that's how I train from the beginning, but that's not how you're going to get more people in the sport.
Right.
Um,
And then I think you might also have this weird kind of overlap where I bet a good amount of the 24/7 people will every now and then come to, a big Saturday or something like that and have a good time and then eventually like start buying programs from you, but if they just can't make it during the class times that you guys have, then they'll do this stuff on their own because that's what they've been used to. But that is something that I found worked really well for me at the gym that I'm at is like
yeah.
I do maybe 2 personal training sessions a week at this gym. But then we have our club Saturday practices, and then in high school season, that's all we have is the Saturdays. But off high school season, here we're in Florida, we've got girls weightlifting as a sport. Then we run club season, and people can come to club practices with us 2 to 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays and then they start seeing all of our high school girls that are lifting more than any of the guys in the CrossFit classes, and they're like, "What's going on here?" And then they eventually just be like, "Yeah, I'd like to try." They have the open gym membership, and they go, "Yeah, I'd like to try weightlifting program." And so they'll pick up a program, run it for a few months, and be like, "Okay, cool, that was fun, but now I'm going to do a CrossFit program or something like that." So you get a lot of overlap there too.
Like a big challenge that I think we're maybe going to face though
Hmm.
is people that are 24/7 members coming in during the coaching hours.
Yeah.
And how do you separate that? You know what I mean? Like, would you just tell our coaches like, hey, like, just don't really coach them? Like, like
I
we
mean,
only got two platforms.
that's essentially what you have to do,
Yeah.
right? And it's a lot of it's just body language, from what I found,
Mhm.
where like it happens a lot because I'll coach in a gym, I'll do personal training, but then you look around during the open gym time, there's 4 other athletes that are following my program, but it's a personal training session. So I'm spending 90% of my time with them. And then if we're interacting with the other people, it's because the client that I have is interacting with them. And so that's when it's a little bit more of a group environment. But you got to keep the focus on the people that are paying
Yeah.
members because they will notice, they will talk about it, they will be frustrated, and they won't say a thing to you.
Yeah. And like that's basically the main problem I see with our class schedule, or like what would maybe happen there. We got to make
Yeah.
sure our coaches are all on the same page with how they coach and how they like.
Yep.
I'm gonna do. This is something that one of our guests, Chris, recommended. I'm gonna write rules on the wall as well. I'm gonna have like rules. But before we close off this episode, I do want to quickly chat about just like the differences between online and in-person training. Because me and you, Brian, were like super big online, and I'd say
Mm-hmm.
you especially, like you do way more kind of online stuff. You don't do as much one-on-one coaching online, but
Mm-hmm.
you make so many programs that so many people have picked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, why do you still do your in-person coaching? Why do you still keep coming back to that or coaching the girls' high school team? Like, tell me about the differences you see there.
Well, I think, it's a tricky thing. I really like online partially because of the lifestyle that it allows me to have, which is not a decadent lifestyle. I think people visualize that as like the nomadic entrepreneur, like I'm working on my laptop at the beach or anything like that. Nah, dude, I
That's
like
you.
being at home as much as I can. Maybe I'll go to a coffee shop and work, but I like being at home with my family and like that's it. And I'm a very much a creature of comfort. Like I love doing the same routine all the time. And so it works really well for me, but it's also like the part of the business I enjoy the most is doing the like building out the website and creating content and having a studio in my apartment and being able to record videos and like getting into that stuff is really fun for me. It's like my favorite part. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing weightlifting coaching in person, you are not as good a coach as you could be. And so as much as like I could make content and sell programs, it's gonna feel fake. It's gonna feel flat, right? Because you start to get out of touch. Even if you're training hard all the time, you're just gonna be out of touch. Um, and so I think that that's a big part of it is like you have to stay in the community. It's if you're not coaching in person, as much as anybody wants to like say, I don't know. I think just you have to be coaching in person to be a part of the community, in my opinion. Doesn't mean you have to exclusively coach in person. Because I can't do that. Like I at the end of the day, like that's just not what my lifestyle wants to be. But I love coaching a little bit in person. So for me,
Yeah.
the perfect amount is we do 4 high school practices a week, and 1 Saturday practice, and it's an hour and a half of coaching every day. And the rest of the time I get to dedicate towards running the business, creating content, creating educational stuff, creating programs, like coaching all of our people on the team, that kind of stuff. And then, I think over time it's also going to lead to a lot more. It'll probably be a lot more developing coaches and building relationships with other coaches and teams and stuff like that. Um, but that's, I think part of it is like you just have to stay in the in-person community if you want to be a part of the weightlifting community. Otherwise, you're just going to isolate yourself and it's not good. But then the other big part of it too is like I love coaching high school kids because it's so cool to see them get so into the sport and get really in love with it. And it's just not, it doesn't happen everywhere. And it's something I'm really passionate about. So if I can make a bunch of people really excited about weightlifting and get started at an early age, then I think that they're much more likely to stick with the sport. And if we see like, if we could even back out to the high performance side of things, the athletes that are probably going to do the best at the high performance, like in the Olympics, are athletes that started at a young age and stuck with it. So if I can
Hmm.
provide a good foundation for people to start and not make them hate the sport, because this happens all too often, people will start with a high school coach. Like I saw this when I was coaching college too, was, we would have athletes come in and be like, I love weightlifting, but I'm not going to compete because my coach made me hate it. And, I'm like, what if your coach doesn't make you hate it though? Have you considered that? And so I want to be able to provide like a good experience for people who are getting into the sport so that they love it early on and will stick with it longer rather than providing like a really stressful entry into the sport. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah, I there's two things that I want to highlight about like kind of what you just said. So first of all, like the lifestyle thing. Like so many people like really glorify this like entrepreneur business lifestyle of just like work, work, work until you die. Um and for a lot of people that does look like coaching floor hours. A lot of gym owners or coaches, like it looks like coaching floor hours like crazy, and that takes it out of you, right? You got to be on your game to be coaching in person. And so like in my opinion, like my ideal coaching lifestyle is coaching 3 to 4 sessions a week, right? Of like about 2 hours. And the rest of the time is left for me to kind of pursue my own kind of ventures. Like that might be some online training. That might be coming out with a new program, whatever's interesting me or like interesting to me at the time. And so like, yeah, like my ideal vision of like what a coach's life looks like is actually working less than it is more, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to provide a really quality service for those hours that I am coaching and really develop athletes really well, like you said, from the youth level especially is really important. But I don't want to be selling my life to coaching.
Yeah.
And
And the other, I think it's tricky because I think when you first
yeah,
start coaching, I think you've got to put your time in. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
You
dude,
have
when
to,
I
yeah.
first started coaching, I genuinely was working from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day for just 2 years, 3 years straight. It was
Yeah.
brutal. It was rough. But I got my chops down. I mean, I was coaching classes, and this was when I started coaching like with CrossFit stuff. I was
Yeah.
coaching classes, multiple 3 morning classes, hour break, 2 morning classes, 2 to 3 hour break, and then 4 evening classes. And I would just do that every day. And there was a period of time when we opened the gym that was for a long period of open a second location. That was for a
Yeah.
long period of time, and it was rough. But also, then I would go and do like my CrossFit level 2 certification. I'd see these other coaches who were gym owners who'd been doing this for 10 years, and they were awful. They were not good coaches. Like, they could barely get a sentence out. They couldn't spot
Yeah.
anything. And so a part of it was like, I did have a huge advantage in that, like, I was able to coach thousands of athletes in a
Hmm.
very short period of time and got way better really quickly. And so
Yeah.
now, like, even though I don't coach in person as much, I wonder, I don't know what it's like for you. Like, when you came and came and did the seminar, the training camp with us, like, I don't coach a whole ton of that. But then when we get into that max out session and I start leading the group, I can bring some energy to it. Like, I can get the whole group moving and get them excited. And that's like, I love to do that. And that's something that I think you do have to go in and get your hours in. You got to get good at coaching in person. But then also, like, you have to recognize that you're not going to be able to do that for your entire life, and you're going
Yeah.
to have to try and figure out a way to make this a little bit more sustainable. And that's kind of my approach now, is like, I'm going to make sure that when I am coaching in person, I'm as sharp as I can possibly be and provide a great service. And the rest of the
Yeah.
time, I'm going to spend like developing different areas of my craft in the business.
And even when it does come to like online stuff that is maybe a little bit more fun or passionate, in the long-term scheme of things with how it builds and can grow, like you do have to put in the hours. Like you really do have to like put in the hours to build something. And then
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, like the goal is kind of eventually moving to doing less and delegating more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cool part. Like listen to our 2025 like year in review episode. It's kind of similar to this episode, but like we're about to take some really big steps for Big Ben Strength to hiring a more of a media team that helps us manage all those little tasks that we don't want to do, like that takes up our time and takes away from actual long-term big picture planning and scripting of episodes and filming of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So much time is taken from editing stuff and figuring out layouts and Canva and things like that that could be put into better stuff. And so I also wanted to say that the second part that I got out of what you said
Mm.
is the high school level stuff, is the youth level. Because yes, with the high performance, but also just like it's so rewarding to see these young athletes grow. And that's funny because it's something that I've considered a lot actually. And I don't even think I've talked about this with you, Brian, is that like my like plan C is like to be a high school teacher, like and a high school coach. Like
Yeah.
I think like that could go in line really well with the weightlifting gym. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially once the gym's really kicking. Like I kind of do stuff for the side on that. And then I get to coach a lot of athletes at the high school level in the high school and also have our club practices at my gym after, that kind of thing. That's something that
Dude,
I'd be interested in doing.
I can tell you hands down, I've coached at the high level. I've had junior world team, junior Pan Ams multiple times, high level masters, that kind of stuff. And I can tell you without a doubt, winning like runner up districts this year in high school weightlifting, I felt so much more excited and proud of that than I did like on Team USA, to be honest. Like, to
Well,
be honest, it was so much more fun because you just get to see the whole team like really put in their work and come together as a team. I think it's a lot more. It's just, I mean, dude, how often are you going to see like 15-year-old girls bar slamming because they smashed a PR and it was like perfect technique? That
yeah,
just, you can't not get hyped up about that. It's so much fun,
yeah, let's freaking go. But
dude, I
yeah,
love it. I don't know.
I do have to head out here, but
Yeah.
you know, I I like this episode. I know it won't have the greatest views, especially if you're listening at this point. You are a real one. You are the realest of the real. Um,
Man.
just shout out to whoever's listening right now, because you keep us going.
Hey, if you made it to the end of the episode and you haven't left a review of the podcast, can you please do that? It would actually help us out a lot. Where I'm finding out now, reviews make a big difference.
Yeah.
We're at 22 5-star reviews on Spotify, which is, hey, that's pretty good. Can't be mad about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it there. Calvin, where can people find you?
At Calvin Lackey, 81 kg on everything.
And you guys can find me at Big Ben Strength on everything. We'll catch you guys next week with a fantastic interview. Later. Bye.
Bye. If you found this video helpful, then make sure to check out this video here or this episode of the Last Set Best Set podcast.